Israel Defense Forces has said that cemetery demolished in Gaza was used by Hamas to launch attack on the southern part of Israel on October 7, 2023. According to the Israel Defense Forces, the tunnel is located under Gaza's Bani Suhaila cemetery and it's 1 kilometer long. The tunnel was used by Hamas to direct attacks against the IDF both above and below ground. Inside the tunnel, our troops eliminated terrorists and located explosives, blast-proof doors, an office, where a Hamas battalion commander managed the October 7th massacre, and a command and control center, among other terrorist infrastructure, Israel Defense Forces in a statement on Monday stated in quotes. Meanwhile, CNN correspondent Jeremy Diamond, who went to the site where Bani Suhaila cemetery said to be located in Khan Yunis, before the Israeli military demolished it, said Israel military refused to provide evidence of their claim. The CNN reporter in a video said the Israeli military refused to reveal the tunnel shaft, citing the presence of sensitive machinery underground and the unstable structure. Diamond in a tweet said that, a week after our investigation into Gaza cemeteries damaged or destroyed by the Israeli military, they invited us into Gaza to show us what they said was a tunnel running underneath one of those cemeteries. We left with more questions than answers. It would be recalled that the Israeli military granted CNN a 3-hour tour inside the Gaza Strip to view the demolition of Palestinian cemetery. An IDF general gave CNN's Jeremy Diamond a guided tour of the Bani Suhaila cemetery. Israel claimed it needed to dig up the bodies buried at the graveyard because a Hamas tunnel ran under it. Israel military has been in war in northern Gaza Strip of Palestine since the Palestinian fighters, Hamas, attacked southern Israel on October 7, 2023. The Hamas killed more than 1,000 people and took numbers of the citizens and visitors hostage. Israel in its retaliation have killed more than 25,000 people in Gaza and refused to end the war despite pressures from the international community. United Nations Security Council voted for ceasefire, but United States of America kicked against the vote, neutralizing the power of the UN Security Council decision to stand. The international community then held an emergency General Assembly of all members of the United Nations. Almost all the nations voted for Israel to ceasefire in Gaza, but the vote was not binding on Israel in accordance with the UN laws. South Africa, thereafter on December 29, 2023, sued Israel before the International Court of Justice, ICJ, and accused Israel of human tragedy and war genocide in Gaza. International Court of Justice in its ruling in January 2024 affirmed South Africa's rights to sue Israel even when it's not a party in the conflict. The ICJ also ordered Israel to set up measures to prevent acts of genocide in Gaza and allow humanitarian passage of food and other basic amenities to the civilians in Gaza and other troubled areas. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu accused Hamas fighters of using civilians and non-military sites as human shields. Israel military continued to show video evidences of non-military sites like schools, hospital, cemetery, among others Hamas fighters used to launch attack against Israel, insisting Hamas is responsible for civilian deaths in Gaza.
We're asking the general if we can actually see the shaft to the tunnel.
But the answer is no.
So?
There's all kinds of machinery which I don't want you to take pictures of. The security might force.
But what about if we don't film it? We just look with our eyes.
And then you might fall in. The whole thing can collapse. Or you have to walk to the edge. The edge is not secured. It can collapse. There's machinery, so on. It's not something I'm going to take a risk on. Sorry.
The Israeli military later provided this drone footage, showing the tunnel shaft we entered and another one nearby. CNN geolocated the footage using this satellite image. This outline shows where the cemetery once stood, and these are the two tunnel entrances clearly outside the graveyard. As for the tunnel they say they found here, where the cemetery once stood, the military never provided any evidence.